As we go, as Vegas predicted, here's Bill from West Hartford, Connecticut. Hey, Bill.
Yes, hi, George. Yes, and hi, Robert Zimmerman. Hi, yes, I am an amateur astronomer. And I don't think I ever told you this, Robert, but first of all, I've had telescopes my whole life, but the last 3 years, since this time, 2013 until now, I have a very great 6-inch Meade, M-E-A-D-E brand, which I know you're familiar with, Meade LS Light Switch ACF Advanced Coma-Free 6-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain reflecting telescope.
You must have a lot of fun with that. Look, I have a friend out here in Arizona who they're going to write this up in Sky and Tel. He just ground for himself a 32-inch telescope, making it's on a Dobson mount. Built it himself. It's the largest and fastest amateur telescope ever built in the world by hand, and he grounded himself. So I'm sure you're having a lot of fun with that piece.
Yes. Let me get to my two questions now. The first one is the expansion of the SLS and Orion spacecraft. You talked about Space Launch System Hughes rocket, particularly the 2018 unmanned mission in 2 years from now, 2.5 years from now.
Amazing.
And the second one is on the outer solar system looking for life, not only on Europa of Jupiter, but Enceladus of Saturn. So question number one, let me start by reading a sentence here, two sentences from Aviation Week in Space Technology from last month, February. It says, the space agency got an extra $174 million to spend in fiscal 2016 on the Orion Deep Space Crew capsule, thanks to the omnibus spending bill Congress passed late last year. One change already adopted because of that money involves the crew hatch, which was not scheduled to fly until Exploration Mission 2, EM2, the first manned Orion flight targeted for 2023. Last sentence, quote, we will fly the flight hatch on EM1, that's in 2018, now instead of EM2 in 2023. So question number one, to speed up the Orion Moon Proving Ground for Mars program, getting to the moon quicker, 5 years quicker, instead of waiting to 2023, as in addition to world peace, and my thought is, why not have the first manned Orion, not in 2023, my goodness, that's 7 years from now, why not have 4 astronauts in 2018, since they will have all the life support system and the crew hatch, as I just read, on the 2018 SLS Orion mission without the crew habitat, but they could do an orbit around the moon with 2 American astronauts and 2 Russian cosmonauts.
Let me get right to it before you ask your second question.
Yes.
First of all, it is insanity to fly anyone on a spacecraft that you haven't tested prior to that flight. And, in fact, NASA requires that SpaceX and Boeing, they have to do complete tests of every system unmanned before they're going to allow a human being on those capsules. Similarly, in the 60s, one of the reasons Gagarin launched and flew in space before an American is because we wisely decided we needed to do another test flight with a chimpanzee to make sure that Mercury capsule and systems were working. Now, what you're suggesting is that we fly SLS and Orion in 2018. By the way, that mission might be delayed till 2019. But we fly it in 2018 with people on it before they've even tested any of the system, any of it. That will be the first launch of that rocket. The very first time that rocket's been launched. You don't put people on such a mission. Secondly, you're never going to speed this program up because you yourself noted there's a 5-year gap between the first unmanned test flight and the first manned flight. 5-year gap. They can't move it any faster than that the way this program is designed. Well, you can't ever explore anywhere with a pace like that. You've got to be able to launch often and frequently to learn what you're doing and do it right. This is a complete pork barrel waste of money. The only purpose SLS and Orion really has is to provide jobs to people in congressional districts. It really is a jobs program, and it's a fake jobs program, which is wasting the lives of the engineers who work on it, because they could be doing real productive work, creating things in the private sector, and instead they're making believe they're building a space rocket and capsule. And I think it's a crime, and it's not NASA's fault really, because NASA wanted to cut this program 5 years ago and go with private space. It is Congress's fault for pushing the pork on us, and our fault for wanting the pork. We should grow up and say, no, let's spend our money wisely and let those jobs go away. Now,
second question.
That's my answer, Bill. What's your second question?
Okay, second question. I just was going to say we did have EST-1, the unmanned Orion flight.
That was not a real test flight for a number of reasons. For one, that was supposed to be testing the heat shield, but even before the flight launched, they already knew the heat shield they were testing was not going to be the heat shield that they were going to use on the capsule. They'd already decided to abandon that heat shield, so it was just a
So why even use that then?
In addition, the rocket they used is not the rocket they're going to eventually fly. So that mission was done for only one reason, to make believe they're accomplishing something and justifying a lot of wasted money.
I'm
very strong about this.
That's the bottom line. Bill, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
I would love to have heard a second question, but that's life. We got to get other callers in. I'm sure.
Yeah, they're piling